You've screamed at a referee before. Every sports fan on earth has. And you know exactly what it got you. Nothing. The ref does not care. The ref has never cared. There is no appeal, no manager, no comment card. Except, this week, one guy found the cheat code. His player got a red card at the World Cup, an automatic suspension, case closed. So he did what any furious fan wishes he could do. He picked up the phone and called the man who runs all of world soccer. That guy is the President of the United States. And somehow, it worked. Let's set the scene. July 1st, Santa Clara, California. The United States are handling Bosnia and Herzegovina, cruising to a 2-0 win and a spot in the last 16. Then Folarin Balogun, America's leading scorer, goes up for a ball, comes down like a baby giraffe on ice, and rakes his studs down the leg of a Bosnian defender named Tarik Muharremovic. The referee jogs over to the little TV on the sideline, squints at it, and pulls out a red card. And here's the thing, it was harsh, genuinely harsh. This wasn't a kung fu kick, it was a guy losing his balance and bringing his cleats along for the ride. Half the neutrals watching went, "That's a red, really?" But in soccer, the referee's little TV is the Supreme Court, and there is no appeal. A straight red at a World Cup is basically a parking ticket from God. You don't argue it, you just miss the next game. And the next game was not a small one, round of 16, against Belgium. The exact team that ended the American dream back in 2014, the ones who made a grown nation cry into its nachos. So now the host country's best striker was suspended for the biggest match in a generation, over a foul that looked like a clumsy trip at a wedding. Now if you're American and new to this, here's the part that really stings. In your sports, you appeal everything. Bad call, throw a red flag, review it, argue for 10 minutes while everyone buys a hot dog. Soccer looked at America's whole "let me speak to the manager" energy and said, "Adorable, but the card stands. There is no manager, there is no flag, there is just a referee in a headset who has already moved on with his life." For any other country on the planet, that's the end of the movie. You sigh, you accept it, you tell your backup striker to lace up. Every team in the history of the sport has swallowed this exact pill. But the United States is not hosting this World Cup like a polite house guest. It is hosting it like the guy who owns the house, the pool and the grill. And the owner of the house had a phone. On July 3rd, 2 days after the card, President Donald Trump picked up the phone and called Gianni Infantino, the president of FIFA. Read that again. Not the coach, not a lawyer. The President of the United States, personally calling the head of world soccer to complain about a suspension. There's a hotline for nuclear emergencies. Turns out there's also one for red card stock. And it wasn't even a solo act. Andrew Giuliani, who somehow runs an actual White House World Cup task force, also got Infantino on the line. The Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick, was in on it too. The United States government reportedly submitted additional evidence, for a foul. Somewhere in a federal building, a very serious person built a case file for a soccer tackle, and your tax dollars said thank you. Then, on July 5th, the day before the Belgium game, FIFA folded like a lawn chair. It announced Balogun's suspension was, quote, suspended, not overturned, suspended. FIFA dug up Article 27 of its disciplinary code, a clause so obscure it probably had dust on it, and swapped the ban for a 1-year probation. Foul like that again within 12 months, and the punishment comes back. For Belgium, though, he's playing. Here's the truly wild part. In more than 60 years of World Cup soccer, FIFA had never lifted an automatic red card ban like this. Not for Zidane, not for Beckham, not for anybody. The rule that crushed legends got quietly folded up for one American striker, 48 hours after a phone call from the Oval Office. And Trump did not exactly play it cool. Within hours he posted, out loud, for everyone, "Thank you to FIFA for doing what was right, and reversing a great injustice. No wink, no backroom, a full victory lap on the internet." The most powerful man alive asked World Soccer for a favor, got it, and left a 5-star review. That is when the rest of the planet lost its mind. Belgium went first, because Belgium got robbed. Their football federation said it was astonished, which is European for "are you kidding me right now?" They said it broke FIFA's own written rules, and they filed an appeal, which FIFA actually granted, ordering both sides to submit their homework 12 hours before kickoff. One Belgian official basically looked around for the hidden cameras and called the whole thing an April Fool's joke. Then they dropped the detail that made everyone's jaw hit the floor. One of the officials reviewing the case was, reportedly, Infantino's neighbor, his neighbor. So let's recap the optics. A rule gets bent for the host nation, reviewed by the FIFA president's next-door buddy, right after a call from the host nation's president. You could not write this. A screenwriter would get notes saying it's too on the nose. UEFA, which runs European soccer and does not do jokes, released a statement dripping with disbelief. It called the decision unprecedented, incomprehensible, and unjustifiable, and said FIFA had crossed a red line. When the buttoned-up suits at UEFA start using words like incomprehensible, you know somebody set the rulebook on fire. The pundits didn't bother with diplomacy. Wayne Rooney, England's all-time top scorer, called it an absolute disgrace. Gary Neville, the sharpest mouth on British TV, said it absolutely stinks. These are men who spend every weekend yelling at each other about corner kicks, and even they stopped bickering long enough to agree the sport had just embarrassed itself. The consensus formed fast, and it was brutal. If a red card can vanish because a powerful enough government makes a call, then the scoreboard isn't the scoreboard anymore. It's a suggestion, a vibe, a rough draft. And the funniest, saddest part, Balogun didn't ask for any of this. He called the whole saga an emotional roller coaster, which is the polite way of saying he committed a foul, took his medicine, and then watched the President of the United States turn his Tuesday into an international incident. He didn't pull the strings. He just woke up famous for the wrong reason. Okay, real talk for a second, because under the comedy there's a genuinely serious thing here. Trump chairs the White House World Cup task force. America is hosting the whole tournament, final in New Jersey. And for 1 week, the wall between political power and the rules of a game just quietly evaporated on live TV. Every other country in this bracket is now doing nervous math. If the host can delete a suspension with a phone call, what happens at the next penalty, the next offside, the next handball in the box? Even if Balogun's red really was too harsh, and it probably was, the way it got erased poisons every close call for everyone else. The doubt is the damage. And here's the kicker. America spent this entire tournament being the good story. Friendly fans, loud stadiums, a team beating the doubters on the field, fair and square. Then one phone call handed every hater the easiest joke on earth. The host country couldn't even let its striker sit one game without calling in the federal government. A month of goodwill, undone by a guy who couldn't resist picking up the phone. Sports are supposed to be the one place where the powerful and the powerless play by the exact same rules. This week, America found the one loophole nobody else has. It's called being America. So when Balogun trots out against Belgium, remember what you're really looking at. Not just a striker in a big game, a guy who got sent off, suspended, and then handed back to his team by the President of the United States over the screaming objections of half the soccer world. For 60 years, a red card at a World Cup meant the same thing for everyone, superstar or nobody, king or intern. This week, one phone call proved that's over. The referee raised the card, and a soccer dad with the world's biggest phone plan raised him one.